Hello YouTube, this is Corbin22 here, back with another scenario build for Star Wars X-Wing miniatures. For tonight's scenario, I'm titling this one Rogue Rescue. Yeah, I think that'll work. Basically how it works is this. Go here. The 4 A-Wings here, all of them Green Squadron elites. Tycho, Celchu, Jake, Farrell, Arvel, Crynyd, and Gemmar, Sojan are escorting this Senator's shuttle here, as you can see, and they're trying to escort the shuttle to get to an important meeting at the Galactic Senate. However, they have been intercepted by elite pilots of Saber Squadron, namely Baron Sunterfell himself, along with Tetrin Cowell and Turfin Air, as well as Lafel's Wrath and Lieutenant Laurier. On top of that, we've also got one of the Empire's Royal Guard ties, piloted by Carnor Jax, also joining the fray, and they are there to either destroy the A-Wings and escort the transport away, or destroy the transport entirely. So the way this works is the Imperial's objective here is to destroy the A-Wing escorts, and if possible, escort the transport to another part of the area, or if that's not possible, destroy the transport entirely. And the A-Wings here, they have to either get from point A to point B, or they have to survive for about, let's say, 6 turns before members of Rogue Squadron here come to their aid. And then, of course, once Rogue Squadron comes in, the objective then becomes escort the transport from point A to point B. But only the difference being is that you'll have greater numbers at your side. You'll have the Rebel Alliance's most elite pilots at your disposal. So that being said, let's look at the builds I've got for these ships. So for the first half, we're using only A-Wings, and this build is based exactly off of my Green Squadron 8, my Green Aces pack build that you've seen. So if you want further details behind this build, I suggest you watch that video. It's under my It's under my 100 point into squadron builds. It's the latest one actually that I've posted. And this one over here is my standard Rogue Squadron build. This was actually the first build I put together, but I tweaked it and I tweaked it a little to match another existing build that someone else made. So credit to the original maker of the build. So instead of having squadron leader R3, R5D8 and a Proton and plus torpedoes, I replaced that with two Astromech and an Opportunist card. And same with Hobby, I've chosen to give him R2D6, which grants him an elite pilot talent, as well as Opportunist, which allows him to gain a stress to get 1 additional attack die, as long as the enemy doesn't have a focus or evade token. So these 2 builds are what I'm going to be using for the Rebels, and as for the Imperials, is a build I kind of just put together at the last minute. And again, they are all elite pilots. 5 of them are of Saber Squadron, and 1 of them are of the elite of the Royal Guard of the Empire's Royal Guard. So start with Saber Squadron first. We'll start with their leader, who is none other than Baron Sunterfell himself. He has a pilot skill of 9. He flies the Cyanide Fleet System's TIE Interceptor. He has an attack value of 3, an agility value of 3, a hull value of 3, and a shield value of 0. You take on the Focus, Barrel Roll, Boost, and Evade actions. Cost 27 squadron points. And he's also able to take on an elite pilot skill upgrade. His ability states, when you receive a stress token, you may assign 1 focus token to your ship. So Sunter is one of those ships where you want to stress. He's one of those ships that benefits greatly from stress, because he will perform an ability an action or a maneuver that will cause him to stress, and then he gets a free focus token to use in combat. So in order to maximize that effect, I've gone with a classic build for him, and that is Push the Limit. And let me just get the light out of here. There we go. Push the Limit states, once per round, after you perform an action, you may perform 1 free action shown in your action bar, then receive a stress token. So with Push the Limit, this allows Sunter to potentially take 3 actions. See, what will happen is Sunter will move, and then he will say take a focus evade booster, focus evade boost or barrel action. After he takes that first action, he will then stress himself with push the limit to do another action, as long as it's not the same one. So if he does a barrel roll, he can then do a boost, focus, or evade action, and that will stress him out. And then his ability, natural ability, will allow him to receive a free focus token to use in combat. And because the TIE Interceptor is an interceptor ship, getting rid of that stress won't be much of a problem because it has a lot of green maneuvers at its disposal. Now I move on to the first wingman that Sunter has, and that is Turfin Air. He has a pilot skill of 7. He flies the Steinar Fleet Systems TIE Interceptor. He has an attack value of 3, an agility value of 3, a hull value of 3, and a shield value of 0. He can take on the focus, barrel roll, boost, and evade actions, costs 25 squadron points, and is able to take on an elite pilot talent upgrade. His ability states, after you perform an attack, you may perform a free boost or barrel roll action. So Turfin Air is kind of like the Imperial version of Jake Farrell, because Jake's ability allows him to, after he takes a focus action, he can perform a free boost or barrel roll action. Whenever Turfin Air performs an attack, he can also take a free boost or barrel roll action, which will either help for getting into a better firing position the next turn, or getting out of the enemy's line of fire if they're going to attack him back. To add to his thing here, I've chosen to give him Predator. And Predator states, when attacking, you may reroll 1 attack die. If the defender's pilot skill value is 2 or lower, you may instead reroll 2 attack die. So Predator allows you to kind of reroll that extra attack, that one dice that wasn't really favorable to you. So say you got like 2 hits and an evade, you can reroll that 2 hits and a blank. You can reroll that blank, and hopefully increase your chances of landing all 3 hits on the enemy ship. For Sunter's second wingman, I have chosen Tetran Cowl. He also has a pilot skill of 7, and he also flies the Steinar Fleet Systems TIE Interceptor. He has an attack value of 3, agility value of 3, hull value of 3, shield value of 0. He can take on the focus, barrel roll, boost, and evade actions, cost 24 squadron points, and is able to take on an elite pilot talent skill upgrade. His ability states, when you reveal a K-turn maneuver, you may retreat the speed of that maneuver as 1, 3, or 5. So Tetran Cowl is really good at getting behind the enemy's back, because he can perform a K-turn at pretty much any speed, regardless of what speed you choose. So if you do a K-turn 3, you have the option of that being a 3, a 1, or a 5. And then that'll allow him to, he'll get stressed from it, yes, but it'll also allow him to get into a better firing position for his attack. And then, of course, being a TIE Interceptor, getting rid of the stress won't be a problem, because Interceptors, lots of green maneuvers, you get the idea. For his elite pilot skill, to complement his ability, I have given him Outmaneuver. And it states, when attacking a ship inside your firing arc, if you are not inside that ship's firing arc, reduce its agility value by 1 to a minimum of 0. So yeah, with Outmaneuver goes perfectly with Tetran Cowl's ability, because Tetran Cowl can do a K-turn 1 or 3 to get right behind his opponent, so that he's like pretty much right on top of them, but without touching their bases. And then Outmaneuver reduces the enemy's agility value, and plus he'll be attacking at range 1. Hopefully, he'll also gain that additional attack value, increasing his chances of hitting his opponent and shooting them down. Now, for the remaining 2 members of Saber Squadron, I have chosen Lieutenant Laurier. He has a pilot skill of 5, and he also flies the Steinar Fleet Systems TIE Interceptor. Has an attack value of 3, agility value of 3, hull value of 3, shield value of 0. Can take on the focus, barrel roll, boost, and evade actions. Costs 23 squadron points, and he is unable to take any upgrades in his upgrade bar. His ability states, when performing a barrel roll action, you may receive 1 stress token to use the softbank left 1 or softbank right 1 template instead of the straight ahead 1 template. So with Lieutenant Laurier, if you stress him out by using this ability, it allows him to pretty much behave almost like a TIE Phantom, because when you with a TIE Phantom, when you decloak, you have to use the straight ahead 2 template, maneuver template to come out of your out of your cloak. But if you're Echo, you use the soft bank to speed tube maneuver instead. So this kind of makes him a little bit like Echo, but without the whole cloaking. And he'll also receive a stress if he does this, if he uses this ability. And for the final ship in Saber Squadron, I have chosen Fel's Wrath. He has an attack. He has a pilot skill of 5. He also flies the Signar Fleet System's TIE Interceptor. Excuse me. He has an attack value of 3, agility value of 3, hull value of 3, shield value of 0. Can take on the focus lock-on barrel. He has the focus focus barrel roll boost and evade actions. Costs 23 squadron points, and he's unable to take any action in his action bar. His ability states, when the number of damage cards assigned to you equals or exceeds your hull value, if you are not destroyed until the end of the combat phase. So Farrell's Wrath, he takes the same pilot skill rule and makes that his ability. Because the same pilot skill rule states that if two ships of opposing factions are firing at each other and their pilot skill are the same, whoever has the initiative goes first. However, he will if the enemy ship is destroyed, he will not be destroyed until after the combat is resolved. So, say Tycho goes up against Farrell's Wrath, or no, sorry, that's a bad example. Say Gemmar Sojan goes up against Farrell's Wrath. Farrell's Wrath will have let's say for this scenario, Gemmar has the initiative. His attack destroys Farrell's Wrath. However, Farrell's Wrath, let me try that again. Two ships with the same pilot skill. Luke Skywalker and Carnor Jax, for example. They both have the same pilot skill, and say for this example, Luke has the initiative. Luke will fire at Carnor Jax, and his attack, say, destroys him. Because of the same pilot skill rule, Carnor Jax will not be destroyed until after he makes his attack, and then if Luke isn't destroyed by that attack, then Carnor Jax gets removed from the play. With Farrell's Wrath, he takes that rule and makes it his own ability, and it doesn't matter what pilot skill the enemy has. So he has a pilot skill of 5, so he can go up against, say, Jake Farrell, for example, who has a pilot skill of 7. He'd go first. Even if Farrell's Wrath is hull value is met or exceeded, he will not be destroyed until after the end of the combat phase. So he's good for getting in that kind of last hit before he dies. And for the lone wolf of this build, I have chosen Carnor Jax. He has a pilot skill of 8. He also flies the Signar Fleet System's TIE Interceptor, and it's a red one, so it indicates he's part of the Imperial Roll Guard. Has its standard stats for TIE Interceptor: attack 3, agility 3, hull 3, shield 0. He has the take on the focus barrel boost and evade actions, costs 26 points, and also has access to an elite pilot talent upgrade. His ability states, enemy ships at range 1 cannot perform focus or evade actions and cannot spend focus or evade tokens. So Carnor Jax is very deadly at range 1. His ability makes it so that his shots will hit regardless. Or rather, no, it'll make it easier to hit regardless, because if, say, he's going after Tycho and Tycho has a focus or evade, he cannot use those tokens to defend himself. And if Carnor Jax moves and he's at range 1, and if both Carnor Jax and, say, Tycho move at the same time, and Carnor is still within range 1 of Tycho, he will not be able to take on a boost or an evade action, which will greatly limit his options as to what he can do for his action phase. And then because he's the lone, he's kind of like working by himself in this build. I've chosen to give him Lone Wolf, which states when attacking or defending, if there are no other friendly ships at range 1 to 2, you may reroll one of your blank results. So Lone Wolf states that as long as the guy is working by himself, he's out of range of his allies. If he rolls a blank while he's attacking or defending, he can reroll that blank for a better chance of surviving the attack or landing a direct hit on the enemy's hull. So yeah, this is my rogue rescue scenario. Again, the objectives behind this is the A-Wings either have to get from point A to point B within 6 turns, and if 6 turns they're still on the field, the Rebel player is allowed to send in Rogue Squadron for assistance. The Empire here, Saber Squadron and the Royal Guard TIE, their objective is to destroy the escorts and guide the shuttle away within 6 turns before Rogue Squadron arrives. If Rogue Squadron does arrive, then the interceptors have permission to destroy the transport. They have permission to destroy the transport, and yeah, that's pretty much mission success for the Imperials. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Any constructive criticism is greatly appreciated. If you like, you may use this scenario for your own casual play, or you can tweak it or revamp it to your own specifications. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Corporate 22 signing off.